There are 4 different types of cloud deployment models, and these are defined in the NIST SP 800-145. There's a 5th one that's emerging too, but we're not going to talk about that one yet. So the 4 different deployment models are public, private, community, and hybrid. Starting off with the public cloud. Public cloud is something that anybody can access, that has access to the internet, and it's usually through a subscription-based model where you just pay monthly for the service. So in the public cloud model, essentially you take your data, it resides on a third-party server. So you don't own that server, but your data lives there. So there's certain security concerns with privacy and security in a public cloud, because essentially it's not just your stuff on somebody else's server. It's a lot of different people that you don't know, companies that you are not aware of, also own those third-party servers. This used to be a major problem when public cloud first started, but since then it has evolved and there's been a lot more regulations around public cloud services, making it a viable option for a lot of different organizations. So what you're doing essentially with the public cloud is you're taking your data and putting it on somebody else's computer that they manage, a third party. And the responsibility for that privacy of your data, the security, remains with you. So if you lose your data, or if you get hacked and your information is in a public cloud, it's your fault because you're responsible for securing that data. As far as reliability, that's usually handled through a contract that you have a certain service level agreement that you want to pay for. The more uptime that you want, the more stability that you want, the more you're going to pay, because it costs the cloud provider more money to keep redundant servers up. But for the most part, most cloud service providers, they offer a standard uptime, standard SLA. Now you can get different regions added to there for availability issues, but it's still the responsibility of the customer to design their application that they use in the cloud in a way that's going to meet their availability requirements. So it's not 100% on the cloud service provider to say that we're going to keep your application up. No, it's a shared responsibility. They're offering you that the service will be up, say 98% of the time, 99% of the time. But if your application goes down and it's not because one of their servers went down, then that's back on you. You can't blame the CSP for that. Now, another concern that you may have is, what if that provider goes out of business, or what if they are breached? Well, if they're breached or anything like that, then a lot of the major public cloud providers like AWS, Amazon, Google Cloud, they have they're kind of too big to fail at this point, are too big to go out of business, but they definitely will have some breaches though. You'll see that. But as far as the entire business failing, it's going to be unlikely that will happen without some other things happening in the world first. A more likely scenario would be that public cloud provider retires or gets rid of some type of service that you're depending on. So you got to be careful when you make a business decision to use a certain cloud service provider, that you can rely on that service for the length that you need it for. However many months, weeks, years that you're going to need this service, you need to be sure that that service that you're using from that third party is going to be up. Another key term in the public cloud space is what they call multi-tenancy. So multiple organizations share the same physical servers at the same time. So that's one of the risks that you may have with multi-tenancy. If your requirements, if your regulations say that you can't have whatever you're running run on a server that is shared by another company or entity or whatever, then that may be the reason why you can't use a public cloud. So some of the pros of using a public cloud are cost savings. The public cloud is typically going to be one of the cheaper ways to do it. You also have less server management. You don't have to spend a lot of time or have teams managing servers. And also you can outsource the security of it. So you can have public clouds. A lot of times they have some cybersecurity services that are tied to, say, a larger provider, that you can use those resources at a cost savings. Another pro of using a public cloud is it's convenient. It's easy, quick to set up. Anybody really can just go in there to AWS or Azure or GCP and just set up an account and get rolling and start using the resources from a public cloud infrastructure from these shared services immediately. It's not a big deal. So 3 of the top public clouds are Microsoft Azure, Amazon Web Services or AWS, and then Google Cloud. AWS, which it really, I think it's probably got the most amount of services offered for pretty much for any cloud computing model. Azure is really good if you're going to be doing a lot of Microsoft stuff. Actually, they've branched out and their marketplace is pretty robust as well. Google Cloud is it's got good storage, machine learning. IBM is got good like AI and blockchain. Oracle Cloud is good at databases, but it's not really there yet in 2023 actually. And using Oracle Cloud honestly right now is it's not there yet. So I think it needs a few more years before it matures and their solutions get better. But overall, those are the top 5 public clouds. And if you want to get started in any one of these cloud services, I would say you can start. Most of these all have a free tier. So you can start off on a free tier and see whether or not you like it. And really it's just UI, you know, the UI, what they put in front of these servers and creating these services is going to be very important as well. Just make a list of the things that you want to do and make sure that your plan, if you're doing it for a corporation or something like that, make sure the 5-year, almost 10-year plan that cloud solution is going to be there and it's going to grow with you and be able to change, because you don't want to waste money, because a lot of times you get things going even on the free tier and say you need some other stuff that you have to pay for, then you're going to start bleeding cash out, because you can leave these things on, like you leave your services running, servers aren't turned down, their storage is not being used, but you're paying for. So you got to be very careful, and it's really a big deal to kind of make sure that you're not spending money that you don't need to in these cloud services, because a lot of this stuff is behind the curtain and you can't really see everything that's going on and stop everything and freeze your whole account very easily. So that's one thing to be careful of when you're messing with the cloud. So that's the public cloud. The next one we're going to take a look at here is called the private cloud. So we're going to do private cloud in another video. So stay tuned. Hit like and subscribe if you got something good out of this video. And thanks for watching.